Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another movie review. I'm sorry that this last few days have been light on content. I've been busy, and I've also just sort of been out of the movie watching and reviewing mood. So I apologize, and I think I'll try to load up next week on reviews. But anyway, sorry for no double feature today. I don't really think I've seen anything lately that would constitute a double feature. But today I'm going to be talking about Annihilation, which is the latest sort of sci-fi movie that's a little bit more and isn't just action. It stars Natalie Portman and Oscar Isaac, and I'm very conflicted about this movie. I went into it incredibly excited because everything online, everything I'd heard from friends, is that it's a great movie. There's a deeper plot. There's great characters. I don't remember much about what they said, but I just heard overall that it was a great movie, and it's got 90 something on Rotten Tomatoes. So I'd seen trailers and I knew a little bit what to expect, but I came out sort of disappointed, but mostly conflicted. Because on paper, I enjoy basically everything about this movie. It's great visuals, an interesting sci-fi plot. There's some like scientific things and some good characters, but in the end, this movie came off as mediocre to me. Um, so for a quick summary, Natalie Portman's character, whose name is Lena, has just found out that her husband, who was a soldier, died because he went into something that they call the Shimmer, which is a zone that's expanding, and they don't really know what's on the other side. So she goes to a military compound and she ends up joining a team to go in and find the source or find out what's causing the Shimmer. And most of the movie is the story of her and the four other women on her scientist team inside the Shimmer, trying to get to a lighthouse where you'd seen at the beginning of the movie a meteor had hit. And that's a pretty great story. It's pretty unique. I can't really say anything else like, or think of anything else like that. It's clever, but my problems with this movie, and I don't actually have any notes, so I'm just racking my memory. I saw this yesterday. Racking my memory, seeing what I could remember. But it's really the story execution that disappointed me. This movie is told non-linearly, so we start off with her. I'm trying to. How does it place? Lena being like sad about her husband being dead or presumed dead, and then he comes back, and then he almost dies again, and she ends up at the military compound, and then she discovers a Shimmer, and then there's Shimmer, but in there is a bunch of flashbacks to her earlier relationships, and it's a pretty wavy storyline. It jumps around a lot, which I thought was interesting at first. I was really into it, but when you get to the end of the story, the way that it's organized ends up being not very satisfying. And I wrote something which I think maybe an answer to what I feel the story should have been. I really think they should have given us a pretty linear version of this story, where the beginning is she is having a good relationship with her husband, and then he goes off to war, and then she's disappointed, and then he comes back, and then they go to the Shimmer, and then the ending part, which there's a pretty big plot twist in there, so I'm not going to spoil. But I feel like that would be a lot more satisfying. It would give us a clear character arc, because in reality, she starts off disappointed about her husband being gone, and she basically ends the movie like that too. There's not really a very low, shallow character arc, and it's not very satisfying. So I think that if they had made it more linear, it would have been more powerful and emotional, especially when we get to some of the events that take place at the end. Another thing is the other four women, the scientists that go into the Shimmer with Lena. Some of them are good characters, but we don't get to know them almost at all. We get snippets of their backstories and tastes of their personalities, but then things just keep happening to them and they sort of just all react in similar ways. It's not actually that's not right, but they don't really change over the course of this story is what I'm trying to say. They have small character spikes, but you don't feel their emotions because we don't know much about them. Which was disappointing because all the actors, all these characters are great jobs. It's just written strangely. Another thing, the idea of the Shimmer is that it's an expanding zone. That means there's a center, which is a lighthouse, as I mentioned. And the idea is that the Shimmer mutates everything that is inside of it, all the plants and the animals and all the light and radio waves that are refracted and things like that. So everything's kind of mutated and strange. And you begin, and there's just sort of a normal jungle, and then it's a normal swamp with some strange flowers, which are a bunch of different flowers on one vine, which is cool. And then they realize that the mutations are getting more frequent and more strange as they go into the closer to the middle of the Shimmer. And there's mutated animals, and there's fungus, and there's really cool things, which I'm not going to spoil because it's like a wow moment when you see it. But in spite of this, the execution, again with execution, the execution of the mutations, I feel like could have been so much more interesting. As I said, it starts off with just some flowers and then some fungus and then a couple animals, but that's really all you get until the very end, and it's a completely different thing. It's no longer the jungle; it's on the beach with the White House. And what I was hoping for is that it starts off light, then gets strange, and then gets weird, and then everything is mutated, and everything's colorful, and the trees are weird and stuff. But that doesn't happen. It's sort of just a normal forest jungle swamp until the end. And that's me as a sci-fi fan being disappointed because I always want everything to be as strange and as intricate and exotic as it can be. But I feel like I don't know why they dumbed it down, but whatever. The stuff they do have looks incredible. It's the CGI is good, the animation, all that. Really, there's a couple cool mutation set pieces, which I won't spoil because those are once again the wow moments. But overall, this movie, I think you should see it. I think you should form your own opinions because I seem to be in the minority of people who didn't enjoy it as much. I still think that it's a 3-star movie. It has plenty of merits. It's got a clever story that isn't wrapped up and executed as well as I want it to be. It's got great visuals that I didn't take as far as I want. But in the end, it's still a decent movie. And I think that if you see it yourself and you enjoy it, great, good for you. But it just didn't work for me. So as I said, this is a 3-star movie. You should go see it. And I will see you guys in another movie review. Thanks. Bye.